In the following tutorial I am going to show you how to build cliffs and mountains. So I have this area right here and I want to block it off with some kind of a mountainscape or a cliff area so the player can get past this area. So I want to have mountains going from here all the way around and ending here. So first thing you want to do is create brushes that will make up the blocking area volume for the mountains. So let's do that now. So I'm just creating simple brushes and moving them into those areas where the rock's gonna go, where I'm gonna turn them into a terrain. So I'm just duplicating the brushes surrounding that area where I want them to go. And the important part is I am putting the brushes right next to each other to the edge, to the corner. I'm not taking any of these brushes and extending them to the end. That's the important part, because once I turn those brushes, those faces into a terrain, that little edge is going to be very important. So let's do one more here. And extend this out to about here. Let me show you what it looks like in perspective view. Now what I want to do is I want to select these 3 brushes and I want to pull them up, creating height. So it looks something like this, and I think player is going to be right around here. I think this is pretty good height. If you want it higher, you can pull it up higher and extend them higher. But right now, I like this height. So I'm going to turn all these brushes into a displacement map. And the way you do that is simple, like in previous tutorials that I showed you, if you guys have seen it. If not, what you do is you select the face edit sheet, click on displacement, and select the faces that you want to make into a displacement. So I want this, and I'm holding down Control to add to a selection, and I have and probably this face too. 1, 2, yeah, I'm gonna take this one off. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4. So, and the way I am deciding which ones to select or not is if the player is going to be able to see it. So this face, the player is not going to be able to see it because I'm going to pull these vertices back. On this one, the reason I'm selecting this is because the player is going to be able to be up here and down here, and he'll be able to see this face. So it's kind of important that I have this. Now, after you have the faces selected that you want to turn into a displacement, just click Create. And the power of 3, I'm gonna do the power of 2 for right now. I can always change it. I can always put the attributes higher. Click OK, and now we have our terrain. First I want to probably apply a texture to it so I can see it better. So let's go to Browse and select texture, and I like this rock cliff. Let's see what this looks like now. So let's apply it to all of our faces. At this point, don't worry about the seams and everything else. We just want to blacken the terrain and start shaping our vertices. So go back to your displacement and start selecting all the faces, and you want to select every single one of these because you want to shape them together. Now go to Paint Geometry, and what you the most important thing when you pull in vertices left and right and shaping your mountains and your cliffs is you want to work on a single axis at a time. So let me distance is the strength, how fast and how hard these vertices get pushed and pulled. Radius is how big your brush is. So I'm gonna put my brush size a little bit fairly big, and I'm gonna start pushing and pulling these vertices back. And the way I'm doing that is I'm pressing the right mouse button and the left mouse button, and I'm just pulling them and pushing them and kind of shaping my terrain how I want it. And the reason that I'm selecting the x-axis is just for that same reason. That way I have more control over the vertices. So go back down here, and I'm gonna push them forward. Creating hard edges, soft edges, just so it looks like a cliff, so it looks like rocks. And I don't want to mess around with this because it'll stretch the texture. So let's come around this side and let's do the same thing. And it looks like I didn't follow my own advice, and it's okay, we'll work with this. But these faces should have been close together. That's okay, no big deal here, we'll just keep on moving. So as I'm taking these, I'm pushing them back. Shaping our cliff. And let me show you really quick. For this part, I'm just gonna switch it to y-axis. I'm gonna do the same thing. And if you need more control, you can always change your power attribute. You can bump it up to 3, apply, and it'll give you more control of how it's gonna look. So I'm gonna stick with 3 now. You want to start with the lowest number, shape how you want it to look, then you can always bump it up. That's the kind of the workflow that you want to work with. Start with the lowest and then go higher. So let me paint a little bit more so you guys get a hang of it. And I think I can bump this up now. I need more tessellation for it. Go back to paint, paint geometry, and keep pushing and keep pulling. And if you need to get rid of the grid, just click on the grid. And that's how you create the cliffs. And also, since we did not choose the texture, we won't be able to paint into little fine details like we did the walkway. But if you want to do that, all you do is you go back and you'll change the texture to, let's say, something like this that has a blend rock, that has a blend name to it. So double click on this, apply to all the faces, and what you're gonna do is select the face, go back to displacement, pan alpha, and you're gonna be able to kind of paint in the different little rock thing for it, which I'm actually liking this. I'm gonna keep this. And that's how you add little caves and cliffs and little mountains around your map. So just keep pushing, keep pulling, and that's how you create displacement and block off your map.